Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am so glad you're here. Today's video is going to be all about how to get started on witchcraft, the do's and the don'ts, my own personal experience, and how to really start manifesting your dream life. At the end of the day, witchcraft is all about your own personal journey, so what works for you might not work for another witch and vice versa, but I'm here to give you guys my own personal experience because I have been doing this a relatively long time now. I originally started when I was maybe 17, and that was just getting a few crystals, a couple of books on witchcraft, and that's about it. And then ever since then, and when it came to developing Mystic Primrose, I have been doing it every single day. So I'd like to think I have learnt a thing or two by then, because if I haven't, then I'm clearly doing something wrong. But no. So let's get started. I have got a couple of topics that I want to cover for you guys today, and we're going to end on an easy beginner spell to help you get closer to manifesting anything you could ever possibly want. Okay, first lesson of the video is going to be, where the hell do I start? Because I know when it comes to witchcraft, it is so exciting to start learning how to do things, start manifesting whatever you want, whether that's money, love, you name it. It is really exciting, but at the same time it can be so overwhelming because there are so many different avenues that you can take, whether that is crystal magic, candle magic, spell jars, divination. It goes on and on and on. So what I want you to do is spend the first 5 minutes, I want you to write down a list of the things that you specifically want to learn about. So whether that is crystals and their correspondences, whether it is learning how to read flames when it comes to candle magic, learning divination, things such as runes. Literally write down a list of all the things you want to cover to start off with. Doesn't mean you have to do it all in one go, because this is a lifetime journey. You're not going to learn it with all in the first 5 minutes, as much as we'd love to, but the whole point is about the journey, not the destination, without being too cliche. So when it comes to learning about all these different things, there's a wide variety of resources out there, whether that is books such as this one here. I have this one on my website. It is absolutely perfect when it comes to having a long extensive list on spells. There are so many other good books that I recommend. I will put a list here as well as putting them down in the description of the video. Alongside books, there's so many other different resources that you can use, whether it is here on YouTube, i.e. myself. So if you feel like giving me a little subscribe, that'd be amazing, as then I can keep teaching you guys how to get better at witchcraft. So that's the first thing you can do. You can obviously write a list, and then underneath each section, whether it's crystals, you could write a specific book that you want to buy that's based on crystals, or a particular YouTube reference and all that sort of stuff. And then as you're learning, I would obviously an excuse to buy a brand new notebook and document what you're learning, because it's all right learning all this sort of stuff, but you could easily forget it and you'll feel like you're back to square one again. So have a notebook where you can write down all your thoughts and feelings and the things you have learned about as you go along this journey is a really good way to go about it. Ultimately, this book could turn into a book of shadows. So a book of shadows is essentially a documentation of where you write down all the things you've learned during witchcraft. This could be spells that you've done, this could be just little notes, whether it's like, oh, well, today I found out this represents this, and do it that way. You could get a specific really nice journal for your book of shadows. I have these ones available where it's just lined notebook with a couple of pictures. I do have these available on my website, but no, you can use a normal notebook. You could have whatever you have lying around. It could literally be a couple of scraps of paper, and you keep them all in a box and you sift through it that way. It's entirely up to you, whatever works for you. Witchcraft doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to go out and buy the whole entire works. It can literally be what you already have at home, because at the end of the day with witchcraft, all you really need is yourself and your belief in yourself and what you want to manifest. You don't need crystals, you don't need books, you don't need candles, but it is nice to have those things. So we will go with a massive crystal collection if we can afford it. Okay, now that you have got your basics down and you've decided what you want to learn and you really want to start implementing it into your actual life and start using witchcraft to manifest what you want, the best way to go about it is to start off simple and easy. I know you see online these big extravagant rituals and you're sat there like, I can't do that, I don't have time for that. So I would say start off small. This could literally be something as, say if you're wanting to manifest money, you could sprinkle a tiny bit of cinnamon into your morning coffee and stir it with intention. And because cinnamon represents wealth and abundance, money and all that good stuff, you're essentially practicing witchcraft by sprinkling a little bit of cinnamon into your morning coffee. Or let's say you go to Starbucks and you know how they have the little cinnamon shakers, literally just give your latte a tiny bit of cinnamon on the top and they have it, you're manifesting money on the go. Another simple and easy way to start manifesting what you want is just getting a couple of tea lights. Like, that's literally it. You could get a tea light and a pen and a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper write down what you're wanting to manifest or your intention, and then you could either burn it using the tea light, and then with the ashes you can blow them to the wind, or you could put them in the tea light and allow the tea light to carry on melting, and then after that you could discard the wax however you wanted. It's entirely up to you. Or if you do feel like, fuck it, I'm going to jump straight in the deep end and I'm going to go for a big extravagant ritual, that is also completely fine. This brings me on to my next point. How do I know my spell is working and am I doing it wrong? Short answer is yes, your spell will be working, and 2, no, you're not doing it wrong. So if anyone's worrying, I've saved your ass, there you go. But let me explain it a little bit better. Sometimes with spell work, it can take a little longer than you'd preferably like to start to see results. At the end of the day, as long as your intentions are clear and you know wholeheartedly that this is what you want and you know in your gut that you're going to get it, then your spell will work. But fixating on it and getting all wrapped up with the idea of when it's going to turn up is going to be the thing that makes it take longer to manifest. So from personal experience, I know when it comes to, say, like trying to manifest your ex back, we've all done it, leave it out. I'm just like you guys, I've done the exact same thing, okay? And I know when you fixate on trying to get that thing back or trying to get that one thing, it's going to take so much longer for it to happen. Because at the end of the day, you want the thing that you're manifesting to come into your life within divine timing. Because let's say you are trying to manifest a particular person back, or say your dream partner, if they come in at the wrong time and your life is completely chaos, the likelihood of it actually working is pretty slim. So I would personally say when it comes to casting your spells is to put your intentions out into the universe and then let it go and get on with the rest of your day. And obviously keep your intentions in the back of your head. You can sit there and revisit the spell as many times as you want, but outside that spell work, don't fixate on it, because the more you fixate on it, the longer it will take to arrive and the more doubt you'll end up having because it's not arriving. So that is another reason why spells may take a little longer, is because you have self-doubt. If you're not crystal clear on your intentions and in your gut you feel as though this isn't going to happen, or say if it is a particular person, say in your gut you know this person isn't going to come back, then there isn't really much point in doing the spell. Unless you know wholeheartedly in the bottom of your stomach that this person will come back, there is no point in doing the spell, because at that point it feels forced. On to my next point is, am I doing it wrong? No, you're not doing it wrong. When it comes to spell work, it is very much a personal journey, and what may work for you may not work for someone else. So if you're following a spell online to the T and you feel in your heart that it doesn't quite work or it doesn't quite resonate with you, you can always adapt the spell to what resonates with you the most. For example, say if it's a protection spell and they've added in rosemary, let's say, and you don't really resonate rosemary with protection, you could swap it out for something else that you do, for example chili. It's completely fine. At the end of the day, the more you practice, the more you'll realise what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And this is where your notebook can come into great practice, because you can then write down things that don't really resonate with you, but you use this instead, and this helps boost your spell instead. Okay, now that we've covered how to get started, I'm scared of doing it wrong, why is my spell work not working, let's go into the things that you need when it comes to practicing witchcraft. Quick disclaimer, you don't need any of this, but who doesn't want crystals, candles, and all those witchy bits? I know I certainly do. So here's your checklist of the things that I would recommend when it comes to starting witchcraft. First off, as I've already previously mentioned, is a notebook and pen. Second is some candles. This can be any candles, it doesn't really matter. It could be the candles that you already have lying around your home from HomeSense, or it could be just a bunch of tea lights, or you could go out and buy specific coloured candles. Let's say you're doing a confidence boosting ritual and you want a particular candle for it, you can go get a yellow or orange candle, or even red. But a little note to mention is that white candles can represent any colour, so if you don't have a particular colour candle for a particular type of ritual, for a particular type of intention, you can use a white candle and that will work perfectly fine. The second thing I would recommend when it comes to starting witchcraft and getting on with your journey is a cauldron, because at the end of the day, these are so versatile, you can use them for absolutely everything. So after your cauldron, I would recommend getting yourself hold of a really good comprehensive book on witchcraft. I have a couple of examples here. These are a few of my favourites. This one's more specific because it is based on crystal magic and it has all your crystal correspondences. So if you're wanting to get started in crystal witchcraft, this is a great book. Then you have a couple of others that are basically telling you how to craft spells and make them your own, and they also have a list of pre-made ones. These are also great. There are so many different great books out there that you can use as a reference guide, or alternatively, if you don't necessarily want to buy any books, you can make it up as you go along and go along with your gut intuition on what you think feels right. The next thing I would recommend in your witchcraft toolbox are a couple of crystals. They don't need to be big massive statement pieces. For example, this obsidian tower, they could be as simple as tumblestones, and I would recommend getting these 4 crystals when it comes to starting out. For example, you would want a protection crystal. For example, that could be obsidian, hematite. There's a long list of different ones that you can use. Tiger's eye or malachite for abundance. You could get either rose quartz or lavender for self-love and peace, banishing things such as anxiety. And then I will get a 4th one, which is typically clear quartz, as this helps amplify all your intentions. And say if you do have tumblestones, you could then incorporate them into your spell work, and at the end of your spell you can then carry these tumblestones with you to help give yourself an extra boost. After your pen and paper, your candles, your cauldron and your book and your crystals, I would lastly recommend getting hold of some herbs so you can actually start creating spell work. You more than likely already have these in your home. I would personally say to go into your kitchen cupboard, raid it, see what you have, go onto Google and match, say, the herb with the spiritual correspondence and its spiritual meaning, so you have a little list of the things that you already have, so you know what spells you can create from the stuff you already have. For example, you more than likely have salt, rosemary, bay leaves, great for manifesting whatever you want, chili, thyme, cinnamon, basil, have I said them already? More than likely. The list goes on. You more than likely already have them in your cupboard, and what's the better, what's already in your cupboard has a spiritual meaning behind it, so you could use that instead of having to go out and buy a particular herb. However, if you are wanting to create a particular spell work and you don't necessarily have the things available at home, you can go to your local supermarket to get hold of the herbs. You could go on Amazon. There are a wide variety of different ways to go and get these herbs and ingredients at as little money as possible. Witchcraft doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to go and spend thousands of pounds on fancy crystals. You can if you want. So at the end of the day, you don't need all this stuff. But There is nothing wrong with having it, especially because they look pretty and they make you feel better, and if anyone comes to rob your house, you can just whack them round the head with a crystal tower. So safety as well, right? So now that you have all your bits and pieces that you need, all I can say is just start getting on with it, because at the end of the day, it's alright you reading all these different pieces and learn about this knowledge, but if you don't put it into practice, you don't know how good of a witch that you can be. Yes, spells might not be perfect to start off with, and you might not get the results that you want straight away, but the more you practice, the better you'll get at it. Like everything else, practice makes perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Witchcraft doesn't have to be glamorous. It can be as messy or as untidy as you want. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, the journey is personal to you, and that's all that really matters. So if you stayed around this long, I'm going to treat you guys to a very, very simple and easy spell to get you started with, say, some of the ingredients that you already have in your kitchen, and you probably already have a candle or something lying around home. So I'm going to teach you guys how to manifest $1,000 in a very short space of time using the ingredients you already have in your kitchen. Okay, so pause the video, go grab these things, and then come back and let's get on with the spell. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to grab hold of your little tea light and you're going to set the scene. So I want you to get into a nice environment, turn off that big light, get some fairy lights on, get some candles going, get some of your favourite meditation music going, and really get into the zone of being at peace with yourself, and so that you can focus on your intentions. Make sure you're not going to get interrupted, because that's the last thing we want. Okay, so now that you've got your candle, on your piece of paper, I want you to write down, I have $1,000 in my bank account, and then sign it. After this, you're going to fold your piece of paper 3 times towards you, and then place it underneath your tea light. After you've done this, I want you to grab hold of your lighter and set fire to that wick. Okay, so the energies from the candle flame will help boost your manifestations even more. So the candle is kind of important in this ritual, as it gives you the energy needed to manifest this money into your life. Once you've got the candle burning and you've got your piece of paper with your $1,000 on underneath your tea light, I then want you to get hold of your cinnamon. This can be powdered cinnamon, it can be a cinnamon stick. If you do have powdered cinnamon, that is better because it won't take as long to burn. So what I want you to do is get a pinch of the cinnamon, sprinkle it on top of your tea light, and really focus on your intentions of manifesting this $1,000 into your bank account. As the candle's burning, sit there for a moment or two, meditating on the idea of manifesting this money into your life. How would you think and feel as this money came into your life? What would you do with it? How would you spend it? Would you invest it? Would you buy crystals? No, really get into touch with what you're wanting to manifest and how you're going to think and feel once you've got it. So as you're letting the candle burn, sit there for a few minutes, and after that you're more than welcome to get on with the rest of your day. You can leave the candle burning, but please don't leave it near anything flammable. I've learned from this mistake. We are practicing good fire safety rituals here. Okay, there's no point in burning your house down and then manifesting $1,000, because that ain't gonna do shit. So once your tea light has burnt all the way down, you can keep this piece of paper on you, put it in your pocket, put it under your pillow, do whatever the hell you want with it, as long as it's on your person or around you for the majority of the time, until this $1,000 has turned up in your bank account. Keep it near you as much as you can. So literally just put it in your back pocket and think about it, or put it in your wallet. It doesn't really matter. And then when it comes to the tea light case, simply throw it in the bin, because there's not really a lot that you can do with it unless you can find some weird crafty way to incorporate it into different things. I don't really know. I would personally just throw it. When it comes to witchcraft, do not worry about what everyone else is doing. At the end of the day, it's all about you and your own intentions and your own journey. You don't need to go out and buy God knows how many crystals, but if you do, they're available on my website at mysticprimrose.com. But no, I hope you guys have a really good day, and if you have any questions about your journey and all this sort of stuff, feel free to put in the comment section, or email me or DM me, whatever you want to do. And yeah, I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye.